Welcome to MSA Weekly. I'm Bill Sammons with Kevin Short. Next week we get back into the rock and roll revival. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to really kind of do a deep dive backstage and on stage, and it's going to be great. This week, though, we're going to answer a couple of questions. Actually, Kevin's going to answer a couple of questions. I think the first one actually came in via phone call, and a guy was having problems with a speaker.
Yes, and it's been a few episodes since we've talked about any questions, and you know, if anybody has any questions, they can email me, Kevin@MidSouthAudio.com. But yeah, I got it. It started out as an email, then we turned it into a conversation.
Okay.
So a guy called a DJ, and he'd been watching the show, and he purchased a pair of speakers online that were discontinued, but had a full warranty, and thought they were a great deal. He bought them, and he got them, and he couldn't figure out how to hook them up. So he called, and he said, I don't have the right. I usually plug my speakers into the wall, and there's no place to do that with these speakers. And he gave me the model number, and I said, well, these are passive speakers. And he said, well, I don't know what that means. And this is a younger guy. In his world, growing up, you know, we've been doing this a long time, and you know, you forget that there are people that have just come into this in the last few years that they've only grown up with active speakers that have amplifiers in them, and that was something he didn't even know there was such a thing as an active or a passive speaker. So anyway, so I explained that to him, and we were able to. He was able to work that out, and we were able to help him and take care of that. But what came to my mind is that I think sometimes, no matter where you come into being in the audio world, that sometimes it's good to go back and learn the basics. And I wanted to recommend a book. There's a book that this book is from the 70s. It's really old, but all the principles are still the same. And it's a very elementary level book. You don't have to have algebra or calculus to understand it. It's written by Bob Heil, and it's called Practical Guide for Concert Sound. It's currently out of print, but I looked last night, and there's plenty of places online where you can buy it. And I would recommend that book. It explains how speakers and amplifiers work. That's what this guy didn't understand, that these speakers would have worked if he had an amplifier that went with them, but in his world, he'd just never seen that happen before. But the difference in a speaker cable and a mic cable and what a direct box does, and it's, like I said, it's a very elementary approach, but I think it's worth investigating.
It kind of makes me also think about the advantage of coming into MSA, to your showroom, to talk to people when you're in the market for something, as opposed to just hitting the first website that you see and find a deal and order it.
It's very tempting to do that. And so the second question we had is a situation where that happened. There's a guy that had a Bose stick system, and been using it for a long time, but it was not a model that came with reverb processing, so he had no verb, and he's a singer, and he wanted reverb. So he went online, and I think he probably Googled reverb processors, but what he ended up buying was a guitar stomp box, a box that's meant for guitar players. So, but the place he bought it from, they were happy to sell him the adapters to plug it in, but it wouldn't function. But because the box worked, they wouldn't take it back unless he paid the shipping to return it, because there was nothing actually wrong. He just bought the wrong thing. But so that if you come into the showroom, those kinds of things wouldn't happen. Like just within stick systems, we've got probably 6 different models. Some that do have processing, some that don't, some that have more channels than others, and we can walk you through all that. And if we don't have it, we'll find an answer and make sure you're not buying something that you're not going to be happy with.
Another beauty of coming into MSA is that you sometimes have used gear for sale because of all the different departments that you're running, and you've got an event coming up soon.
Once a year or once every other year, we have a yard sale. It's March 14th this year, so that's coming up soon. Saturday, March 14th. It'll be at 9:00, and we'll put this out on Facebook, and we'll do an email blast about it. So, but we'll have a lot of gear that we no longer rent, and we'll have mic stands that maybe have it's a scratch and dent sale, stuff that still works, the stuff is available at very, very reasonable prices. So we just try to blow it out and make some room in our warehouse. So for the new gear that's coming in. So that's coming up.
That'll be at the showroom in Milton.
Actually, it's in the warehouse.
The warehouse.
Yeah, it's actually, we do it in the warehouse.
To the showroom. So, but you'll want to check that out. And if you have any questions for Kevin, so he can answer them in future episodes, Kevin@MidSouthAudio.com.
That's it.
We'll see you next time on MSA Weekly.